What role that you've portrayed would you say means the most to you? My guess is Dickinson.
Wow.
Just do it. Just do it. Publish it with my name and everything. Thank you, George.
Anytime, Miss Dickinson.
I'd love to be wrong.
My brain immediately went to this. Morgan Freeman was asked what his favorite role is that he'd ever played, and his answer was the next one. And I love that so much. And I sort of had that same thought, because I feel like I couldn't do the next one, whatever that next one is, without all of the ones that had come before it. And because of how meaningful they were to me at that moment in my life. And I'm sorry if I'm dancing around it. I'm going to answer your question, but I think True Grit to start.
The gates is occupied.
I know it is occupied, Mr. Cogburn. As I said, I have business with you.
Kind of goes without saying. But that set the tone for me. That introduced me to everything, every part of this world that I knew nothing about. I was given an opportunity there and had an experience that I search for. And when I find it, I'm reminded of that little girl that, like, loves this so much. And I have moments that, like, again, in searching for those feelings that I got when making that movie that remind me of why I love doing what I do. From then, it was Edge of 17.
Oh my God, say something, please help me!
You need to watch out for run-on sentences.
I think I was 18 when I made that movie. 17 turning 18, so I got to understand who I was in that phase of my life through that character and through that movie. From there, it was absolutely Dickinson, and that the works of Emily Dickinson moved me in a way that I can't articulate.
He kindly stopped for me.
Elena Smith, the whole show in and of itself, being an actor on that show, being a producer on that show, was such a huge learning curve and experience for me that taught me patience. It taught me a different kind of work ethic that I loved so much, and I felt I grew immensely on that show. Also having the opportunity to, like, go back and dig deeper year after year for 3 years was such a privilege. I think then from that, it would be this movie.
You want some?
This role means so much to me. This experience that I had, I walked away with a family. And it's not often, and I've said this about Dickinson, because it's not often that, you know, what we do is so crazy in that you're in these positions with these people. In this case, this movie takes place in a day. We were in, for the majority of the time, one location, and it was a lot of night shoots, and you're home away from home that you're creating with these people around you. With Dickinson, again, over 3 years, we built a family. And to walk away with connections and a bond with people that you know are going to stay with you is, like, one of the most meaningful parts of this job, because it doesn't always happen. But that was a very long answer to your question. There are a few.
It's one of the best I've ever heard. So genuinely, I'm not just saying that.
Thank you.
Super impressed. You didn't even mention, and I'm just going to sneak it in for you, Pitch Perfect 2, because that changed your life. If we just talk about the music,
my God.
It just needs just a little bit of that.
Absolutely.
Also gave me my favorite happy gif of you. You know the one. We all know the one.
I know the one.
Do people forget that's you and then use it to you? Because I would forget.
No, but someone did, actually. A long time ago, and I remember being like, that wasn't funny, that wasn't cute, or whatever. It was like a I don't remember the context, but I remember feeling like you could have used any GIF in the world, and you chose that one, and I don't agree with the choice. But thank you for bringing that up, because that opened a whole new career for me. I had always hoped that there would be some form of an introduction into the world of music through a film, because that was home base for me, and yeah. I studied as an actor, and I knew, like, I felt confident in that. And then I've always had a love for music, but I just had this feeling of, like, how can you be an actor and then, like, drop an album? How does that work? And for me in my brain, it was like, this is only going to work if I can, like, do it through a movie. And that was Pitch Perfect 2. And thank God for that movie, because not only was that was one of those jobs that I, like, couldn't believe it was a job.
I'm being paid for this?
I'm being paid to, like, sing my favorite songs and do a montage that includes like the blob. Do you know what that is? You know, the big that thing, and rolling around in mud, and like all while wearing like really fun tearaway tracksuits and fun hair and make crazy. But I'm glad you brought that up, because that absolutely is also an answer.
My pleasure. Are there lines that you can remember from throughout your career that you basically can't forget because you've had to drill them into your skull? Because rewatching True Grit, I thought you were so young, and the Coen Brothers dialogue is so precise. And I think the one I really like, and I wrote it down because it just pleased me when I rewatched it, was, "Now here's what I have to say about that saddle."
$300. Now you must take that or leave it, and I do not much care which it is.
Lawyer Daggett would not wish me to consider anything under $325. But I will settle for $320 if I am given the 20 in advance. Now here's what I have to say about that saddle.
That whole sequence with the horse trading and all that, how did you get that in your head?
That was one of my audition scenes. The day we shot that, I actually experienced my first migraine.
Sweet.
When we were shooting that. I may have even taken this for granted, or not taken it for granted, but maybe not even realized this wholly then, because I was so young. There was so much room to, don't want to say fail, but
Try.
yeah, and space to find the right path. There was room to try different things, new things, ideas that, were introduced in that moment, ones that we had talked about previously. But I loved it. I remember, I've learned now to appreciate a role that maybe isn't so heavy on the dialogue, because there's so much more to say in other ways than with words. But the first time I read a role that didn't have as much dialogue as Maddie, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how. What do I do? Give me the words. You got to give me something.
Oh, what are you doing in these mountains here?
Well, I have not been formally deputized, but I'm acting as an agent for Marshal Reuben Cochran and Judge Parker's court. I have come to take you back to Fort Smith.
There were a lot of mouthfuls of dialogue in that movie, but I loved it.
Noble Daggett of Dardanelle, Arkansas, may think otherwise. As might a jury petitioned by a widow and 3 small children. I don't know how you did it. I get the impression, though, in roles like, for example, Kate Bishop, that you get to sneak in some of you into the lines. Are there any that jump out at you as an example of when you've snuck in a bit of Hailee?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'm his partner / best friend, Kate.
He's my partner.
We're not partners.
Well, we're friends / partners.
I wouldn't really describe us as friends.
Oh, you know what? That was something that we might have riffed on in the moment. One thing that was so fun about Hawkeye, fun and also challenging, the rewrites in real time were crazy. And a lot of it had to do with, again, just sort of having to pivot when when you get to the location and you understand that one thing or another isn't going to work due to blocking or
the lights and the
exactly. So rewrites were happening sort of on the ground when needed, and that also kind of left some space for Jeremy and I to play.
Excellent. I think there's some similarity there with Woody Harrelson. I love the bloopers in Edge of 17 where you really feel how you make each other fully laugh, and it is so enjoyable to nearly get each other to break.
I can get this. I'm sorry.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
And then I watched your Hot Ones interview with Michael B. Jordan, and the brother-sister energy is off the charts.
It's just,
Ow! Yes!
Who would you say is your favourite person to make break?
Whoa! Well, to get Woody to crack is crazy. So, that's, give myself a pat on the back for that one. He thinks I'm funny.
If I ever got Jeff Bridges to laugh, great day.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need.
Great day. Very happy.
Yeah.
Michael I'd be happy with, although he wants to laugh.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
But I'd still be happy with that. And who's the best at getting you to break?
Wow.
I say Rebel Wilson would get me.
Oh, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
crazy thing about Rebel is she has about 20 alt lines for every line ever written, and you never know what's going to come out of her mouth. In the best way, you are like just along for the ride with that one.
Sometimes sitting on the fence hurts your crotch.
This is another tricky question. Are there particular scenes that you can think of where you felt yourself being really stressed about having to get that one right?
Oh, all of them? I think the thing I've struggled with the most is when a scene is already like pre-blocked. That to me is like, again, part of it. You got to jump in and make it work.
But I can so see it.
Oh, but it's like it's a luxury and a privilege to be able to walk into a room and have a filmmaker who is in full support of, and not that it's always their call, right? Like a lot of times this is the space we have and this is all we can do with it. That's tricky. Then I feel myself like sometimes stressing in real time of like, this is not right. But that's not a great thing to admit.
I would have thought the day, and I don't know whether it was a stunt double or you, I like to think it was you, when you are sliding across a zip wire and you're stuck halfway between two buildings with a bow.
That was me.
Of course it had to be
was
you,
me.
right?
I did that.
And you think, I hung from that wire. That would have been like, I need this to go well. I need to not fall off this thing.
Yeah. The tricky part about that, first of all, there was really never a time where Kate didn't have multiple things on her. It was always a backpack, the dog, the bow, the everything, the quiver, all of it.
Scars,
Everything. Getting up and over the rail to get the bow on top of that part was, I think, the scariest. The little zipline part was quite fun.
Now, I have to sadly wrap things up, so I'm going to ask some curiosity questions, some somewhat silly things. But I was wondering what your favourite story is about meeting a fan, and do you ever get voice recognised? Do you get people who recognise you from Arcane or Spider-Verse, and they go, hey, are you the...
Oh, I had some of the most incredible fan interactions through Dickinson. I was in the Philippines, and there was someone that introduced us, and the person that introduced us had looked at this young girl and said, "What is your name?" And she looked at me and said, "I'm nobody, who are you?" And my heart just was like, oh my God, to be out there and have that. And in an instant, I like understood this girl and she understood me. And it felt like it's so fun to like be in the supermarket and like have somebody come up and be like, "I love your music," or like, "I just saw the movie and it's so good." But like to have a real connection, like that's why we do this, is like to connect with people and to reach people. Emily Dickinson is someone who paved the way for me, not only to have found myself in a world in which I could play her in something, but just to exist, and to be a creative woman with a voice and a point of view, and I needed her and her poetry. And so to be able to be a small part of maybe bringing that to someone else was so special. But that was a really, really cool moment.
That's lovely. Yeah. Do you get people quoting lines at you? And do you always recognise what they are? No one's going, "Oh, I'm Aka G."
No. And thank goodness.
I did it again. I couldn't help myself. You have said what your favourite films are. I just want to check in on what you've watched lately and what you love. Because you mentioned 13 Going on 30, which I absolutely adore.
Love.
Mark
I rewatched
Ruffalo.
it recently too.
Yeah, I don't know. Good. It was on a streaming service and I just found myself going, I need a bit of the Gruffalo in my life. Big Lebowski, which made me think that hoodie that you wear in Edge of 17 is Model's Own.
Yes.
Paper Moon, Step Brothers. What else has joined that list?
I thought Honora was fantastic. A friend of mine, the two of us had a list of movies that we wanted to get through, and we were watching them in a different order. And it was one that I was like, could not wait to have a conversation with someone about this movie. It's one of those that like you see it, you know it, you get it. And she did, and it was like this conversation of like, I don't even know that either of us got a sentence out because we were just, it was, and oh my God, and everything about Mikey Madison's, all of the performances, so nuanced, so moving. I really loved that film.
I look forward to having a conversation with one of my friends soon where we both have that moment of
It's one of those. I kind of feel like maybe it's this movie. For,
I think,
you know, it's like you can't quite put your finger on like I don't know.
I just want to get on the phone.
Maybe I just needed a moment too. That's one thing I do that I don't do that I should do is like when I watch something, I come down from it, process it, then call your friends. That one I just was like, God, it was so good.
Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to keep up to date. You can listen to my Radio 1 movies and TV podcast Screen Time on BBC Sounds. And you can find these interviews in full on BBC iPlayer by searching Movies with Ali Plumb.